It's not surprising that you have this opinion, considering the fact that you have uh, interacted with such people on Seismic that are also hostile to Jewish people and think that we complain about 6 million dead from the Holocaust, stuff like that. But considering that the United States of America also made allies with Stalin. Now I know you're a Stalinist and a communist, but considering the United States had to make an ally when they were under duress against Nazi Germany, it's not inconsiderable to think that a country that was being attacked and surrounded by enemies and constantly under duress and needing to defend itself like they do now, that they would take any ally that they could, even Joseph Stalin, as the United States did. Or, well, you're a Russian, so I mean, maybe you don't have a problem with Joseph Stalin, but many people do. Of course, he killed twice the amount of people of Adolf Hitler. But the reason this mem is making it out into the bandwidth is because it just came out that Judge Goldstone, the person that's prosecuting Israel of the crimes that you are speaking of, has just come out that he was an apartheid hanging judge. In other words, he lynched black people before he went and attacked Israel, before he was involved in the Balkans and pushing and supporting and protecting Nazis in the Balkans, the Croatians and the Muslims that were murdering Slavs and that Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton protected in the Balkans. All right. So Goldstone has a history of hanging black people in South Africa. So this is actually just propaganda because now they're going on the attack. Yes, Israel actually had a very close relationship with South Africa. In fact, there's a lot of things you haven't even mentioned that I happen to know. Of course, you're ignorant, so I don't expect you to know it. But actually, Israel's Air Force came from South Africa. They stole the planes. That's a fact. And I met the person that actually literally went to an airport in South Africa and just flew off of one of the planes. That's how Israel got their Air Force. Everyone knows it. Later on, they did make allies, but believe me, it was completely existential. You can respect that, right? As a Marxist, existential. Uh, so the reason this meme has become viral right now is because the only defense that the Palestinian state has, considering that the leader of Palestine is a Holocaust denier and a person that was responsible for the Munich Olympics and in 1968 and was based a terrorist, and well, they're right now murdering each other, Hamas and Fatah, these so-called moderates. But of course, you wouldn't call them radicals because they only kill Jews, right? Because that's what the Quran says. That's what their constitution says. That's what the Palestinian constitution and manifesto says. It says that they are going to kill Jews behind rocks. It says that the tree of the Jews, the Garquat tree, will protect them. That is the manifesto of Hamas. And also Fatah, the moderates. And the only thing that these Palestinians have to go on is Goldstone, that it turns out is the equivalent to the KKK, who was an apartheid judge. So yes, Israel has a long history of South Africa. They stole their planes to start the Israeli Air Force, and later on had to make compromises where they could because there was no other way they could survive. The same way the United States and Britain and France made allies with Stalin.